Still loading. Okay, there we go. Well, everybody, here we are. It's 4 minutes to midnight here on the East Coast if you're in the same time zone as us. If not, welcome to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and of course DK on the sticks tonight for a very frustrating episode, hopefully a therapeutic episode. Certainly is the absolute last time I think that Glenn and I, that was the nail in the coffin when it comes to blowouts. And we got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm trying really hard, Glenn, to not self-destruct. I told DK before the show started, the thing that frustrates me the most is that, and I'll kick it to you in a second, but as teams like the Rams find ways to continue to get more stacked, Lamar Jackson's on a rookie contract, and we still look like we're bereft of talent. And I realize we have a lot of injuries, but like I start this self-destructing thing in my brain. And so anyway, we got so much stuff to get into tonight. Where you want to start? I have I'm sure you have it up in front of you as well. I know you have some notes. I have some notes along with some like the drive-by-drive breakdown and stuff like that. But I guess we can start with some stats, go over the score, the stats, things like that. The only stat that I want to point out is the Ravens punted 9 times.
That is absolutely insane. All right, yeah, let's get into the stats then, and then we'll move on to some more. We got a lot to talk about, Jimbo. But passing the ball, Lamar Jackson goes 26 of 43 for 238, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and is sacked 4 times, Jimbo. This defense did not have a ton of sacks coming into this game, and they were absolutely just destroying Lamar Jackson behind that offensive line. Then on the other side, Miami, they have 2 quarterbacks going this one. First, Jacoby Brissett started the game. He goes 11 for 23 for 156, was sacked twice, including the last play of his day when Justin Houston, shout out to him, got to his 100th career
century
sack.
Mark.
That's almost a guarantee to get you in the Hall of Fame. So that looks like that's where he'll be when he decides to wrap it up. But yeah, Jacoby Brissett, not the best of game. And although he looked like he wanted to come back in the game, coach said, I've seen enough of you. Let's get the young fella in there. Tua took over. He goes 8 for 13 for 156 and was sacked 1 time. But I definitely feel like when Tua came in that game, I think that was, whether Brissett was healthy or not, I think that was the right call. Had to mix some things up because Brissett looked absolutely horrendous out there.
Yeah, at first I thought when Tua was going to come out there, I felt like the defense got a little wind in their sails and started to ratchet it up, and seems like they had him stifled for a little bit. But certainly, big play after breakdown after breakdown. When Tua throws a 35-yarder, and then whatever that like 50-yarder was, Mr. Never pushed the ball down the field himself. There's a serious problem. You can only look at yourself in the mirror in situations like that. But since we've gone over the stats, I this is where I want to start, Glenn. I talked about us punting 9 times, and you brought up something really important. We'll get into big plays in the game, but I want to kind of start wide scope here. Lamar Jackson was sacked 4 times. This is the most in his career he's been sacked in a season thus far. Who's more to blame here? Do you see this more on Lamar, as Lamar Jackson holding the ball too long, trying to push the ball down the field, or do you see this more on a really bad performance for the offensive line?
Man, this was a total this is a bad performance by really everyone out there. I mean, it's hard to find a bright spot offensively. Everyone took had their fair share of shortcomings today. I think it looked like the 2018 offense, 2019, more so like the 2020 offense when we were really struggling and teams were just loading the box. It's disappointing that it looked like it's not something we haven't seen before. It's something that all Ravens fans know. For if you've been watching the last few years, the teams load the box and dare you to throw. But except this year, we thought that the Ravens had an answer for that. It seemed like they did heading into this week. But today, it was just, you're right. The offensive line played poorly. Powers was blocking no one out there. There was communication breakdown. But more importantly, they were rushing more than the Ravens had
Yeah.
to block, and the Ravens seemingly had no answer. They tried a lot of these quick screens, these quick passes to the flat, but Miami was rallying to the ball, making tackles. It just seemed like the Ravens had no answer, and
None.
I kept questioning, where is these quick slants, and then we finally get a quick slant, and Sammy Watkins decides he doesn't want to hold on to the ball, and really at that point the game was over.
Not a
When
good night for Sammy Watkins tonight.
what the hell is going on with this guy today? I mean, is this
Dude,
just rust
he
from
looked
missing?
like after he at the very first, that the very first quarter when he didn't go for that ball at the end of the end zone, he looked like, I don't know if he got his bell rung like pregame or whatever. He looked so like out of it. You know what I mean? Looked like there was
No
nothing behind the
confidence,
eyes. Yeah, nothing there.
nothing.
So yeah, that it's a really tough one for me, and I understand your point. Kind of hard to answer. Let's get back to that. People are rolling in with some super chats here, so I don't want to leave anyone behind and kind of miss them. What the Flock says, any questions why Roman isn't a head coach? Question mark. 3rd and a mile. Let's call a run to Bell.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of head scratching plays in this game. I mean, but at the same time, it did look like, what's interesting is when we come on here, a lot of people and ourselves included talk about wanting to see screens and quick passes and getting the ball. They tried some of that, but it just seemed like it's just like the momentum went to the Dolphins' way, and the Ravens could never get it back. It just seemed like no matter what the Ravens tried, it wasn't working. But I tell you what, I would have liked to see some more crossing routes, some drag routes. I mean, get these guys running and get them chasing some of these Ravens receivers.
Yeah.
It just, a lot of out routes I saw today, which were terrifying every single time.
Every single time.
I mean, yeah, Greg Roman, not his finest game, but at the same time, I mean, no one had a good game offensively. So yeah, it's tough to just, single him out as a guy to blame when everyone, was kind of it was a collective failure. Tim Oddie, did I get that?
God damn. Yes, you did.
Tim Oddie says we needed this to let our boys know that they have to play 60 minutes, not 30 or 15. Blown out in 2 of the last 3 in overtime. And
can I address this one
in the win? Yeah, go at it, Jimbo.
Tim, I love the positivity and silver lining here. There's no silver lining. Well, I mean, I guess everything in life you can take and turn into, like I said, it depends on how you internalize it and then use it, right? So, like, I get that, but I disagree here. Like, I hope that it ends up being the case, like it's a lesson learned and they're able to move on and do something with it.
Yeah.
But I think that this game will haunt the Ravens at the end of the season. And it could end up with the way the AFC North is shaking out, and the AFC North is exactly what's happening in the entire AFC. It's just a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
And so with it being like that, man, if we could have gone ahead, think about this, Glenn. If the Steelers win this weekend, there will already be a 3rd leader in the AFC North. Right. So, and of course the Bengals have gone from 1 and 2 weeks all the way to last. So I'm sure by the end of it, by some point, Cleveland will be, first in the AFC North. So we needed this game, and I think it's going to come back to haunt us. So I understand your point. This certainly needs to be the case. And I'm sure we'll address this further on the show, but man, this is just a brutal loss because our schedule is ridiculous coming down the stretch. And this is one that we needed, man.
This was the most winnable game of the second half of the season. And, I mean, Tim, I thought that the wake-up call came when the Bengals blew the doors off the Ravens.
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't know it was going to take another wake-up call. Joseph Eckert says, if Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator next week, then the players should have a meeting. Look, I get it. He had a bad game, but the whole offense had a bad game. And heading into this game, his offense was responsible for the 2nd most yards per game, and once again was number 1 in the entire league in rushing ball.
I love how you end up having to defend Greg Roman.
I mean, I end up having to be
it's
this
not
guy.
Something you like to do.
No, I don't. But I end up being in position. I'm not ready to, look, that was a bad game. But that was a bad game for everyone involved, not just for Greg Roman. So,
100%.
Yeah, I get he deserves blame, but I'm not ready to fire the guy mid-season and think that that's going to be somehow a positive. I mean, I get his point. He's frustrated, and that's why we're all here to really vent frustrations. Because believe me, it's not easy getting on here after
Well,
a loss like that.
I think I'm gonna make some people upset here once we get to the next one with Savage. In order of blame: 1, Greg Roman; 2, Giro; 3, our OC; 4, O line. Like, I get it, but hey,
That's
look,
pretty
man,
good though.
you're a franchise quarterback. I'm sorry, Savage, but Lamar Jackson belongs on this list somewhere. As a franchise quarterback, as much as you get all the glory, you better take responsibility.
That's fair.
And you belong on this list. Like, I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson is the sole, is the number one reason we lost this game. Everyone has a piece of this blame, but certainly, he's got to be on this list somewhere. I think that's
Yeah, the receiver. How about the receivers?
yeah, I mean, there's so many people. How about, I love John Harbaugh, but tonight I noticed that, man, he was pretty quiet when I felt like I didn't see him talking in his mic a ton when I felt like he needed to step in and be a little bit more of a dictator and less of a facilitator. But I know that's his style and I get it. So point is, blame everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you're blaming people, your franchise quarterback has to be somewhere on this list. He has to. Like, it's unavoidable, right? Because he gets all the glory and all the praise, and Lamar Jackson's carrying us, this, that, and the other. Well, then he has to be somewhere as well when it comes to the blame. Like,
But in fairness to him, though, I don't think it's a very big piece of the pie tonight. I don't think he played horrendous. He just, I mean, where was he going to? I mean, look, he had no chance when they're sending the kitchen sink at him. Michael says every run stuffed, every pass, the O-line crumbled. And there's no doubt about the second half of that. I will say they had some runs in the beginning, in the first half, but it just seemed like the Dolphins just said, you know what, you're not going to do this anymore. We're going to put so many guys in the box. If you're going to be crazy enough to run into that front, then have at it. But the Ravens tried to counter that with some quick passing, and it just did not work at all. And they played with such confidence on the defensive side of the ball.
I thought it was interesting because Rashad Bateman is the real deal. I think the kid's got a lot of talent. But one of the things I think that was notable tonight was that both of their corners much more physically imposing than our wide receivers.
Vets, man.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, everyone talks about you need the big guy and, like, and then some Ravens fans will say, okay, well, you don't need the 6'4" guy. You don't need we have these guys that are good contested catchers and things like that. But when you have physical corners that are extremely athletic, man, it makes you think, it makes you realize the value of a big receiver that can just overmatch a corner such as the ones we played tonight. It makes you wonder, right? I mean, DK Metcalf was on the board. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I'm really looking back here.
I mean, look, I like Hollywood, but I mean, I see your point. Like, on that play at the end,
there's no perfect receiver except like Randy Moss or like Jerry Rice, but
yeah, man, or me back in the neighborhoods. But no, I mean, I see your point. Like, at the end when he threw the bomb up and Hollywood, tried to go up for it, but he's not.
You knew that was never going to work.
Yeah, he's not the physical imposing force that you'd hope, but still, I mean, I don't think that's necessary. We're missing it. It'd be nice if Boykin could do some of that, but I don't think that's really what killed us. Phil Ouimet said, one of the most pathetic all-around performance I've seen from this team. I have some serious concerns about our coaching staff. Greg Roman called terrible plays all game long. I gotta say, was this the single worst offensive performance in the Lamar Jackson era? I gotta say, it had to be. I mean, I can't think back of a worse.
The Bills game was pretty bad.
The Bills game was pretty bad. The Titans game.
The reason that this was so bad is because they're so bad. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
this is uncharacteristic.
This wasn't a good team that blew us out.
He doesn't lose these games.
Yeah, this was a bad team, dude. Yeah. This is a bad team that destroyed the Ravens. So, I mean, look, I think that Phil is right in having some concerns. I would have liked to see some more, some more, on the feet thinking and get some counters to what they were sending to us. But why couldn't the Ravens offense counter what the Dolphins were doing defensively?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we were getting outsmarted. Brian Flores was beating Greg Roman in this game, and their defense was executing at a higher level than our offense was executing. Man. You got to look at the trenches too. We've kind of been, and I think once again we'll get back to that. But man, like you said, they were sending more than we had up front. But man, Lamar Jackson had no time. He was under duress all night. Guys weren't getting open fast enough, or they were being beat at the point of attack. Even down to the very end of that game when Lamar got intercepted, Rashad Bateman did not look interested.
That was a tough catch, though. It was quite
No,
a bit
I'm not even
behind
talking
him.
about making the catch. I'm talking about playing some defense, like knock the ball down. But
breaking it up or something.
He didn't look very interested to me. I get it; it's like the end of the game. But anyway, there's a lot of things here. Let's keep rolling through these, and then we'll get to our own thoughts. But we're here for you guys. So
that's right. Yeah, Joshua Hunter.
Yeah,
he says, "Can someone call Mystery Inc.? Got to solve the case of why Le'Veon Bell is still getting carries." Yeah, I mean, the only running back that has impressed me has been Devonta Freeman. He's the only one. He is a little spark plug out there. He still has the burst, still has acceleration. I mean, Lev Bell was
the answer for this to me is simple. Is that if you watch, I mean, he's clearly our best blocking running back. So he is now the Miles Boykin of the running back.
Some lead blocks today.
Yeah, so he's now the Miles Boykin of our running back room.
I love it.
But what that does is now Greg Roman wants plays to look the same but have a different outcome, right? Like he always talks about that. Yeah. So what he's doing is he's putting Le'Veon Bell out there. They're thinking he's gonna be out there for blocking purposes, and then he gets the ball. So his ability to block is allowing him to get on the field. That's to me what it really is, and it's just as simple as that. Get Roman out now. We will never win with him, King. I know you've been on this train for a long time, and I understand your point. The only thing I'll say is that it really comes down to this. Glenn, of course, has the theory that Bill Belichick is not a very good coach, and that Tom Brady was masking all his deficiencies.
I say he's not. He's good. I say he's good,
like, but he's not the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Like he's not.
Yes,
he's like what, like above average.
Yeah, he's above average. Yeah,
but my point is that Tom Brady made up for some glaring holes in his coaching, right? Like his ability as a coach. So where does the breakdown come? Is Lamar Jackson just making up for all of Roman's deficiencies as a coach, or is there anything to the fact that, look, guys, like say what you want, but Roman has taken a team that's not the Baltimore Ravens to 3 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. Like it's not that this guy has only had success here and it's only because of Lamar Jackson. He's done it with a few different teams at this point. So I don't know if I'm ready to say we will never win with him. I am ready to say, like you said, that tonight was terrible.
A stinker. It was a stinker of a game, and it was all around bad. But look, he's the head of the offense, so there's no doubt that he deserves a big chunk of this pie, this blame pie that we're handing out. I mean, you can't hide from the criticism when you put up that type of performance against a Dolphins team that I thought by now would know they're out of it, but I guess they were rejuvenated by the win over Houston, and they certainly carried that into tonight. Jared Ramirez says it almost feels like we give up when we run the screens. The screens seem to be called on third down, and the defense was ready for it. I mean, look, the defense knew when you're overwhelming the offense with a pass rush, you know what they have to call in order to try and get you out of that, that heavy pass rush offense. When you're playing off-man coverage that far off and you're blitzing like that, they know you're going to try and throw a screen into them. They know you're going to try and get the ball quickly into the hands of a receiver in hopes that they can make just one guy miss. If they make one guy miss, typically they can get a first down or more. If they make multiple guys miss, who knows, a touchdown. But tonight they couldn't make nobody miss, and they were rallying to the ball, and it seemed like they were anticipating, but with good reason, because they know exactly what an offense has to do to counter what they're doing. And so, I mean, really shout out to their team and their coaching staff, and they just outplayed the heck of the Ravens,
Yeah, I mean, certainly that you could see that where in a sport where will actually makes a difference, they had much more of a will to win tonight. Patrick Queen has zero awareness, slightly more effort than Cam Newton on that one. That was pretty frustrating when all you had to do was fall on the football. That could have been a momentum changing play. So that was certainly a frustrating moment. I understand your pain, Bill.
But don't you get why he did what he did?
I do.
He was trying to make a play. I mean, I wish he would have picked it up too, but he was trying to make a play when he knew our offense couldn't do anything.
Can you not kick the ball?
Yeah, I don't think you can kick the ball.
Like, can you goose it? No, you can't.
I don't think so. It's probably like illegal touching of some sort, or
it's a flag.
Some sort of a flag.
DK's giving the
it doesn't sound right. But either way, look, if he picks it up and fields it cleanly and scores. By the way, Patrick Queen had a nice game tonight.
Yeah, he had a nice game tonight, and he was laying some wood. But will he just use his arms when he tackles, please? Just use your arms. Like,
but
you
I tell
made
you, he
clean
tackled
contact tonight.
well. Yeah,
He did.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
like use them a little more to, like, you can grab humans with your arms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He plays with double casts.
Yeah, it's all shoulders. I'll never understand it. But anyway, let's see what the flock says. Formerly Mike Harrington, we need to learn how to cover and tackle from Syracuse, New York. It's horrible to see. Can we correct it? I think he was saying that his name was formerly Mike Harrington, right? Like, am I understanding that correctly?
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, we'll go with that. The tackling tonight, there was a couple, that guy Wilson that they got who ended up getting the 50-yarder late. He was quick, man. He was shifty. He made Clark look bad early on. They were trying to get him the ball any way they could, and he made a few guys miss. There's no doubt. But outside of him, I thought the tackling was okay. But the blown coverages again, Jimbo, more missed assignments.
So let me ask you this. Glenn. And then I need to bring this up because I brought up in the pregame. This is true, and it's really important to understand. Sometimes you don't learn this until you're in it. When your body is tired, your brain makes bad decisions, right? So the Ravens played an overtime game on a short week. I'm not building in excuses because we should have beat this team, that we are a better football team. But do you look at this and say it's just one of those, put it in the pile of another reason why Thursday night games suck? Do you know what I mean? Like, just another, because when a guy like Chuck Clark is having mental lapses, like Chuck is known for the exact opposite, right? Like, he's a 6th-round pick who's now wearing the green dot and running our defense because of his mental sharpness. And when he has multiple mental lapses in a game, I don't even know if that's how you say that plurally, lapses. But the point is that, like, this makes you wonder. You know what I mean? Like, it just
look, Jimmy, you're letting them off the hook. I'm not going to let them off the hook. If this was a singular instance, maybe. This has been an issue that has plagued this defense all year long. These big plays, these blown coverages, these blown assignments. Yeah, this isn't new to this game. Every game, we see at least one or two examples of this, and it, again, killed the Ravens. I mean, they had an opportunity down by 5 to make a stop and get the ball back, and they blow a coverage and give up a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
It can't happen. I mean, look, the Dolphins played on Sunday too. So I'm not giving them any excuses. I'm not letting them off the hook. Yeah, it was an overtime game. Okay, you had to play a couple more minutes than the Dolphins. I'm not willing to give them any type of reprieve from this, this criticism because they were tired.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't do it.
And I guess to answer this question, do you think the tackling remedies can be solved? I mean, it sounds like, based on your opinion, the tackling wasn't the issue tonight. There were some certain missed tackles, room for improvement, but it wasn't the main contributing factor. It was really, like you said, the miscommunication, the blown coverages, and the lapses in coverage, right?
So, I mean, absolutely. Look, the Miami Dolphins had 6 points through 3 quarters. The defense wasn't the problem. I mean, those 2 big blown coverages, you can't have them. I mean, you just can't have them. But they kept this team. You hold a team to 6 points through 3 quarters. I mean, at some point,
when you got the second-ranked offense in the league, you should be.
Yeah,
you should have the lead.
Exactly. That should have been a good enough performance to win. Billy Seal says the Band-Aids have been peeling, but I think they've finally fallen off. We don't have the personnel to run Giro's offense, and his game script is garbage. What do you say to that? Now, that's an interesting point. Do you think the Ravens at this point have the horses to effectively run his offensive scheme?
Ugh. I mean, I guess I can't do anything, but after tonight, I guess I've got to agree with Billy that, like, when you don't have it, you don't have it, right? I mean, this isn't Seabiscuit. You know what I mean? Like, you need the thoroughbreds out there, right? Like,
this is no fairy tale story. This is no, what is that? Invincible with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going playing from backyard football to go into the NFL. So yeah, certainly, I understand what he's saying. And Lamar Jackson has been holding those Band-Aids in place. It's like whack-a-mole, right? Like, and he's just been the master whack-a-mole. Yeah, it finally has bled through, and it's becoming an issue. So Yeah, I understand your point, Bill. I can't find myself disagreeing with you at this point. Now, next week,
It's
yeah,
just
we could
such,
be.
it's crazy because last week, they get themselves back in the number one rushing team in the league. They have all these yards. It's just like
But
how
we got
how
to
things
talk
can
about that
change.
because DK brought up something important that is really a facade, and you know this, of course, because it's really just Lamar Jackson. It's not the execution of Greg Roman's offense; it's just Lamar
But the running
improvising.
backs had a good game last week.
Right, but
They both did.
certainly what we see this year looks nothing like we've seen even
No,
in
no, no, no,
last year. You know what I'm saying?
no,
And
no,
so,
no, no.
and it's such a key cog in Greg Roman's offense. Maybe
Yeah.
he's overly reliant on that being there. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll certainly find out. Ashified Gaming says they ran pre-snap pressure packages all game. We could not beat it. Hollywood had some big drops. We can't run the ball unless we wear them out with LJ. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. They were insulting the Ravens offense by their brashness of the fact that they just put all those guys at the line of scrimmage and just said, "You can't beat us." And look, they got good corners. They got Xavier Howard. They got Byron
Yeah,
Jones. And that young safety Holland.
yeah,
Dude can ball. I mean, not only was he, first of all, he was blitzing. He was playing great coverage. He was their
yeah. Let's go
primary
make a
punt
trade
returner.
next year in the offseason or something.
I mean, that dude's got some skills out there, and he can check a lot of boxes. But
Yep.
I was absolutely stunned by the fact that the Ravens this year, this isn't 2 years ago, this isn't last year, this year, the Ravens had no answer for that type of pressure where they weren't even hiding it. I mean, they were just like, yeah, we're coming, and get nervous. And occasionally they would drop some guys into coverage. And when they did that, Lamar a lot of times was catching them, but not often. I mean, most of the time they were bringing the noise and they were
Yeah.
getting to Lamar one way or the other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's yeah, let's keep moving on here. I can't disagree with you. It was just a brutal one here. Let's see who we got next. Is this Jared Ramirez?
I think, yep, exactly.
To add on what I said, the middle of the field was wide open. Do we like not have any over the middle plays? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was begging for slants all game.
Yeah.
A quick slant, and I get, look, the corners are gonna come screaming down, and as soon as that slant's caught, they're gonna try and knock it out. And just like they did to Sammy Watkins, that ends up being a touchdown for the defense. But I don't care. I wanted to see more of that, and receivers should expect that that's coming and be prepared for it. They were playing so far off that and they kept trying to do his out routes and stuff, terrifying the bejesus out of me every time that it was going to get pick sixed. And they just had no answer. And I get that on occasion they would drop instead of blitzing, and then that's maybe why they weren't trying some over the middle stuff, because they were trying to catch us in that scenario where they would drop and all of a sudden they drop a linebacker underneath and he picks it off. But until they do it, let's at least try it. I mean, I agree. I wanted to see more drags, more crossing routes, more in-breaking routes. I didn't see a lot over the middle today, and I was a little surprised because that's kind of Lamar's bread and butter.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, that's what he feels most comfortable with. So certainly that's an interesting point and something we should have been doing more of. Man, just a frustrating game overall. Let's get to Phil. So 10 points is the lowest score we ever had with Lamar as the starter. Lamar has to be blamed here too, but the Dolphins are the Dolphins, man. Come on. Yeah, so I think that didn't we end up only with 3 points against the Bills?
Was it that low? Oof.
Wasn't it 3 points?
Maybe
in the
he's
playoff
talking.
game last year, DK?
Maybe
I
he's
guess in the regular
talking.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is the most frustrating thing about this, Phil, to me, is that the Lamar Jackson led Ravens don't lose these games.
Yeah.
Right? Like, with Joe Flacco, you always had a chance whether the team was 1-5 or 5-0 or 6-0, right? Like, Joe had that play up and play down about him. Lamar Jackson generally doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's why this was a really, really frustrating game to watch. It's not like this was a playoff game, like you said, and this is a team like the Bills or the Titans, or this team is in the basement of the AFC.
Yep.
With 2 injured quarterbacks. Really
the worst
no
run
excuses.
game in the league.
Yeah, we had no excuses. So
Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks for.
Yeah, and if you meant to add something, just let us know.
Yeah, we certainly will. Arthur, Bill Belichick has won exactly nothing without Tom Brady as his quarterback. Just wanted to say that. Exactly nothing as a head coach. Zero. Anything meaningful has all been won with Tom Brady. And we see how good Tom Brady is. So that's
Oh gosh,
my only
yeah,
thought
we don't even
there.
want to go there.
Billy Seal says PQ has zero awareness, slightly more
Wait, we did
effort.
this one.
For real?
Yeah,
Jeez, how far back did I go?
I don't know, man.
All
Look,
right.
I'm gonna pull this one up. Go ahead, because look, what the fuck? You're not bothering us, bro.
No, absolutely not. What is it? Sorry to keep bothering you, but seen it
In
00.
2000 and in
Oh, I
12, do
got
you
you.
think, yeah, we can rally and the Lord of the Rings this league again?
I
Bend
mean,
but
look,
not break.
the good thing is every AFC team looks like it's got flaws. And I mean,
Yeah,
really every team in general across the league. So it's still very much up in the air. But man, I think like Jimmy said earlier, you lose a game like this and in such a tightly contested AFC and AFC North, you got to worry that this game could ultimately come back to haunt you in one of those tie-breaking moments, considering this is an AFC foe. So yeah, Jordan Malone, appreciate it.
yeah.
Thanks for
I'm
the
just
love.
rolling through these. Let me get to the next one. Shout out, Jordan. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, he sent another one. The inability to change the offensive game plan throughout the game is cringeworthy. Ravens simply don't have the players to win a Super Bowl. Glenn, I want to comment on this, then I want to get your thoughts. This
Yeah,
one was interesting to me because I thought we come out in the second half, adapt, and just mow them over. Like, I was like, all right, we're done like playing with our
yeah,
food, like twiddling around. Like, it's time to just start to eat, right?
yep,
And it didn't happen. And it does make you wonder, are the injuries, but no excuses. I've said it before. I'm done blaming injuries. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the horses, you don't have the horses to win, win a Super Bowl, much less beat the Dolphins. So what's your take on Jordan's thoughts? I get it, and I understand it, and it's hard for me. You guys know, and you've called me a homer. I am a homer. And it's hard for me to admit that, but it's hard for me to disagree with Jordan when you lose a game to the 2-7 Dolphins.
yeah. That was and the thing that makes it so frustrating is that the Ravens all year have been a second half team,
Yep.
and tonight they were a no half team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was fully expecting, like when the Ravens at halftime, didn't you think, weren't you feeling pretty good about the fact that the Ravens were going to come out and be a better version of themselves and get things back on the right track? I
Yeah,
mean,
right the wrongs. Like I said before, collect the data and
yep,
then go in and just execute, right? And you didn't see any of that. You saw the same what you
nothing.
saw in the first half, and you're like,
Dude, I had a note, and I'm going to pull it up. My note, the Ravens' first two drives to start the second half were like at the 50-yard line, and both of them ended in a punt. At
yeah,
the 50, the one was inside the 50, one was like right at the 50, and they both ended in a punt.
yeah,
That cannot
exhausting.
happen. I mean, that's why I say, yeah, the defense deserves some blame for those blown coverages, but damn, the offense did nothing to help them. I mean, this offense
Not a
was,
thing.
what were they, 1 of 9 on the game on third down? I mean, 2 of 12, 2 of 14 on third down, guys.
Yeah,
So, I mean, how can you even? I mean, I just don't know how you can put much blame outside of those blown assignments on the defense. I can't do it. I mean, to me, the offense did them absolutely no favors.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no margin of error, and it's funny because we've had Luke on the show before from he's shoot, I forgot where he writes, but local here to Baltimore, and he's a sports writer. Luke Jones. I think he writes for the Nest. There you go. But anyway, he said this game has an old school feel to it. I'm waiting for Ed Reed to make a pick six and give us the lead. This was when we were only down by 3 or
Yeah.
it was like 3-9 or whatever. We don't have, that's just a luxury the Ravens had, and it would be to think about having 3 Hall of Famers, one at each level, and potentially, you add Haloti as like a
A
fringe Hall of
fringe. Yeah.
Famer in there with the 3 other guys who are locks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you see probably more than once in your life.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that would just be, but so this is kind of adding to my question here with Marcus Barnes, Glenn. What's worse, the O-line or the play calling?
Mm. It was both. It was both
Yeah.
equally as horrible. this game. It was bad for both of them. I mean, it was tough to watch. It makes you wonder.
There's not one pie at this point, right? There's like 2 blame pies.
Yeah, we're coming out like this.
Yeah,
I'm falling into people with blame pies.
Yeah.
And I'm pieing everyone right in the face, old school Orioles style. Back when Captain America Adam Jones was still in town. Phil Ouimet says, to me, felt like the referees cost both teams. I like the first roughing call on Lamar, but the second one wasn't right at all. 100% agree. Another stinker of a night for the referees.
Yeah.
The first one was legit, although as a more of a traditional football fan, I don't love it, but I get that it was, he drove him into the dirt. He was trying to hurt the guy.
Oh, but I've always hated that play, so I like it. I've always hated it.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to hurt the guy, but I mean, at the same time, I don't know. But the second one was trash, absolute trash. Jimmy, and now I'm so glad that Phil said this because I got to understand. Did you see an angle where the ball hit the ground for Andrews? I didn't see it.
No, and I am convinced that it is impossible. Look at DK in the background. It is impossible that the ref saw anything different than we did. There's no way. They didn't have different cameras.
No.
He caught the ball, guys.
It was a goofy catch. It bounced around, but it never touched the ground. I never saw an angle. I couldn't believe it took a first down and possibly field goal range out of the situation for the Ravens. I never saw the ball hit the ground. I don't know what they saw.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either. That was a lousy one. But you jumped way ahead, by the way, buddy-o.
Did I?
Yeah,
I'm
you did.
just terrible at this.
It's all right. No worries. What the flock says, sorry to keep. Wait. Oh, look,
no.
Wait. Here we go. My bad. Here we go.
Call me out.
Oh, we need to regroup. Tim Audie says we need to regroup offense and defense. That is, commit more to the run and drop the blitz way down percentage wise. Tim Audie, I got news for you, my man. The blitz percentage isn't going anywhere. Yeah. But I understand your point. The other part is we can commit to the run, but Lamar Jackson is our run game. Period. Like the guys up front, combined with the average age and miles of our running backs room is a problem. Like it's not just the running backs and not just the offensive line. It's the combination of the two. They're not great. And the guys behind them are pretty worn out tires with some threads showing. Now, like you said, Glenn, I think that Freeman should be on the field even more than whatever his percentage is right now because he's the only one with any sort of like juice left in the legs.
Yep.
But it's a tough one. I get regrouping. Did you hear that? I was like, it's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. We do need to regroup.
100%. Yeah, I mean, offensively for sure. But let me just stress this. Again, those 2 blown coverages were bad. But on the day, the Dolphins had 22 carries on the ground for 60 yards. That's less than 3 yards a carry. Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
That's good. And then as a team, they gave up 19 of 36 passing, so barely above 50%. Is that good?
Yeah, pretty dang good.
That's pretty dang good. And they had no passing touchdowns allowed.
No, our defense played their butts off, in my opinion. Like, think about how many times was it 3rd and goal? It was like 3,000. Yeah,
I mean, they just kept giving them shots. You want another chance at it?
Here have at it, Tua. Go ahead, buddy. Like, give it a shot. It's like, T-ball. You can do it, Tua. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, dang.
It was like when I played in the softball league and we were getting beat so bad, the umpires made the other team take the next inning off and let us hit twice.
Gosh,
that's what it felt like.
It's just an embarrassment. I don't know what team you were on, but
it was bad. We had gym shorts and they had matching outfits and bags. It was bad. But yeah, I mean, 100% right on the offense. A regroup. Have you ever seen a more frustrated Lamar Jackson? I mean, he was.
We got to talk about that. So once let's catch up on these because I want to get everybody, but we got to talk about that. I have that in the holster. Don't worry. We absolutely got to talk about that.
He was fired up.
Yeah. So Bill says, everyone wants to point the finger at G-Row, but can we talk about Wink? The defense has no base look, just wild and complicated blitz packages. So I get your point here. I do want to mention this, and it's a good week that you bring it up because last week, I forgot who was at the podium, but defensively, but what changed in the first and second half of the defense was they said they just started playing base defense, like basic defense. They kind of like dialed it back
Yeah.
and started, and then, we started to gain some momentum. So I can understand what you're saying, Bill. Sometimes, like, yeah, you just want to see some like, some standard stuff out there, right? Like, nothing too crazy,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. Wink, you live and die with it. Like, it's like the 3 ball in the NBA, right? Like, if you just live and die with it, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the defense was really the problem outside of those mental errors, which, I mean, they got to clean them up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's been a bad year defensively. This has got to be Winks. I mean, this is the worst defensive team in the Harbaugh era. I mean, that's saying a lot. Harbaugh has been around. Why did I waste my time on this? Appreciate it, man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was directed
Oh,
at the
we won't
game,
make you waste
us,
any more time. There you go.
anyone, or anything else. Patrick L says Tucker makes that. It's a different ball game. Hashtag momentum. I'm glad he brought that up. Look,
Yeah.
look, Tucker has a difficult job. He's either perfect or, he could
Yeah.
be faced with criticism. Now, I'm not going to criticize him for missing a 48-yard field goal. All that he's done this year has been, and really his whole career has been unbelievable. However, I will say that in the moment, it would have changed some strategies, and it would have, if he made it, it would have changed some things.
It was tipped.
Okay.
It was, you can go back and look.
It's
Sarah
partially blocked?
tweeted it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah Ellison tweeted out there was a partial block there. So it wasn't all on Tucker. The other thing too, I'll say this. Nobody is put in more impossible situations consistently than Justin Tucker. As far as the case. So yeah, I won't accept any slander. While I get your point, like Patrick would have totally changed the momentum. Like, slander to Justin Tucker to me is unacceptable because he is put in extremely difficult situations, and he 99 whatever his percentage is, he gets the job done.
Yeah.
We don't give him gimmies. We just don't. Like, it just doesn't work out that way for Justin Tucker. So, all right, what's Phil got to say here, Glenn?
Phil says we have seen all the comebacks, but we get it. The media question whether Lamar could come back and win games, but we don't need to see it every time. We didn't get it done tonight, but I wish we did. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking though, when they were down by 5, kicking the ball back to the Dolphins with 4 minutes left.
Here we go, right?
I said, oh boy. And then on first down, we get a nice tackle right at the line of scrimmage. Yep. And then the blown coverage, the 50-yarder to Wilson, changes everything. But yeah, I mean, we were this close from hopefully seeing another shot to at least, get it done for Lamar.
Yeah, exactly. And if any of you are Hamilton fans, we threw away our shot. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
But I want to say this. Shout out to Calais Campbell, dude. Like, he's gonna be ripping guards till he's in like dentures and adult diapers, right? Like, the dude just
he'll toss you.
He just throws these guys. I love to watch it. But anyway, that makes it, because you're talking about that play. He made that nice play on first down, is what you're referring to before the breakdown. Dude is all heart. I love Calais Campbell. I'm glad he's a Raven.
I wish we would have gotten him when he was in his prime, man.
Oh my gosh. There's some guys that have come through Baltimore and you just think, man, a few years earlier. Yeah. But I want to talk about that meltdown. Let's get right to it, because we're caught up for the time being.
Are we caught up
with the super chats? And keep them coming, guys.
Did we put up Jordan?
I think I can't remember. But
I might have forgotten. Appreciate it, Jordan. I didn't know if we did, so I just wanted to put it up there.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Jordan.
But I want to talk about this. So there's going to be a lot of talk about this tomorrow. A lot. I want to say this before we talk about it, Glenn. Whatever your opinion is, and I think a lot of people in watching this show will side with Lamar Jackson. But there will be a lot of people who won't. And this is my ultimate defense. Okay. Whatever the criticism of Lamar Jackson is, go watch the tape of Tom Brady doing the same thing to his offensive line and his wide receivers, berating them. And then tell me you're still upset about what Lamar Jackson did. That's the only thing that's like my argument before you even come to me and talk to me about how Lamar Jackson was upset, out of control, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Go watch Tom. Go watch Peyton back in the day. A lot of these guys, jump down these guys' throats. on a pretty consistent basis when they're underperforming. So with that being said, I want to know what your thoughts were. And that wasn't directed at you. That was more towards the people that are going to trash Lamar for being out of control and not being a leader and being a whiner and this, that, and the other. So I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I liked seeing it from him. I mean, I like seeing a fired up Lamar now because with the way he did it wasn't, it's not like he, we've seen it from players where they do it the wrong way. Like when you see Jalen Ramsey in the locker room doing a post game interview and he's criticizing his safety for blowing a coverage in the media. That's the wrong way to do it. To try and publicly embarrass someone is not the way to do it. But I didn't see that from him. Now, with that being said, I was still surprised to see him do it. I mean, I think
out of his character normally, he's just not that type of guy, right?
I mean, he must have been really frustrated to get him to this point. I've never seen him even come close to this. I mean, this was by far the most demonstrative I've ever seen him on the side. He was pacing like a lion out there, just frustrated. I mean, it seemed like frustrated with a bunch of different things. I was trying to read his lips, but I couldn't do it. But yeah, I mean, very surprised.
Saw a lot of F-bombs.
Was there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't shock me.
And I did see, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I did see, I couldn't tell I'm pretty sure it was Bateman, but it was the wide receiver sitting down. And anyway, Lamar said something towards them, and Bateman, it looked like it was Bateman, started to answer, and Lamar gestured. So Lamar gestured and said some things basically to me, based on his body language and what I could understand, was like, I don't care. Like, I don't want your excuses. Like, we need to get it done. Like, that was his response to me. Like, that's the way I was able to piece it together. Like, and he cut him off and was like, stop. Like, stop. We don't need that. Like, we need results type thing. Like, we don't need to hear. I don't care what your excuses are.
Maybe he was done with hearing my bad from everyone.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to hear my bad. Go out there and do it. Yeah, I mean, it's shocked to see him frustrated, but I don't think he went over the top, to answer the question. I don't think he went and did anything where it was disrespectful, embarrassing, anything like that.
Yeah.
Didn't really single a guy out. We can make, inferences, but we don't know exactly what he was frustrated. Phil says, I understand this is a Ravens YouTube channel, but I have to say the right guard of the Dolphins made that play. That was the greatest play of all time. I was dying. 100% agree. That dude, that was hilarious. That was, first of all, it was the greatest big man touchdown that never was. Yep. It's the single greatest penalty I've ever seen in history. I mean, that was so incredible. First of all, he fooled everyone for about 10 seconds. Everyone thought that they schemed it up, that he checked in and announced himself as eligible and then made a phenomenal play. I mean, it was a sensational play. He's flipping over upside down, reaching out. What is happening? It was hilarious. And honestly, if you want to look for a bright spot in that game as a Ravens fan, look to that because it didn't hurt the Ravens and it was absolutely hilarious.
You know what the best part of that was? They played it about 1,000 times, and a lot of it was in slow motion. And the reverberation of his belly all the way down his jiggly leg, just all of it, dude. Over and over. That was pretty funny. But just like a shockwave when you throw a pebble in the water.
Yes. Like, oh, it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious.
Dude, the athleticism to get it out there, extend the arm. Now, I do think if that were live, I think he lost control of the football. Yeah. To
me, touchdown. Even though it was against my Ravens, and I'm glad it didn't count. But no, hilarious. We will see that a lot over the next couple days here. Demetrius Campbell, appreciate it. Thanks for the love. Thanks a lot. But yeah, I wanted to get into a couple other things.
Yeah,
First of all, I got to talk about Odafe Oweh gave you another scare. I saw you tweeting. I know you were getting nervous. And he came close to a second one.
Yeah. I love that this has become a thing on Twitter. Like, it's cracking me up, man. Like, my wife was dying. She's like, dude, people actually care about this. Like, they're stoked for you to eat this thing.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we see what happens. I mean, but the fact of the matter is it's the first time we've seen Odafe Oweh. He kind of had a bit of a breakout of a little bit of a mini slump there. Is this a sign of things to come? Are we going to start seeing more and more of them? Or like, because we were starting to wonder what's up with the disappearance of Odafe Oweh.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're on to something. I think something that DK brought up in our pregame is that at the end of the day, he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
And so really, he hasn't had an extended period of time off from the end of the season in college to going through prepping for his evaluations and combine and stuff like that, and then obviously reporting early and this, that, and the other. So you would expect some sort of wall.
Mm-hmm.
But he definitely bounced back, and I'm interested to see how he responds and takes momentum from this game. I don't know what his final stats ended up being, but I also saw a tackle for a loss that he had
Yep.
outside the sack.
Yep.
So yeah, good game for him as well. So it'll be interesting, man. It'll definitely be interesting to see how it shakes out. And I'll be watching it closer than anybody else.
That's right. With a bottle of Pepto next to you.
That's right.
Travis Whitfield says Brandon Stevens should not be starting, and why aren't we seeing more of Jimmy Smith out there?
Was he suited up tonight?
You know, the last two games, I haven't seen Jimmy Smith. And we saw, by the way, a surprise appearance by Chris Westry was out
Yeah.
there, despite kind
Made the
of,
play on the 2-point the failed 2-point conversion.
yeah, also made the tackle on the big fella, was the one who took his legs out and flipped him into the air on the play that didn't
That's
matter.
a good
But
way to get yourself back on IR there, Westry. Be
yeah,
careful.
taking on a 300 and some pounder. But what has happened? So it's a 2-point, two-part thing here that Travis is talking about. For one, to me, I still like more what I see from Brandon Stevens than dislike. I think he had a pretty decent game. He gave up a catch to Waddle that was pretty deep, but he was right there. It was a tough catch and really a tough route for a rookie to defend. I thought he played okay. I mean, he was third in our team in tackles. Now, was he part of some sort of a coverage breakdown? I don't really know. I think Chuck Clark has some blame. I don't really know if he was a part of those coverage breakdowns, but if he wasn't, I wasn't that disappointed. But what do you make of the disappearance of Jimmy Smith? Is he hurt, nursing some injury? What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't really know, man, and I don't understand it. Fabian Barcenas is just saying that Jimmy played one snap in the Vikings game, supposedly because of coverage or the coverages or whatever that they were calling.
I don't
Uh,
care what the hell they're calling. He needs to be out there if he's
right.
healthy.
So that seems weird to me. Because certainly, and now with Tavon gone, and Tavon left this game. Poor Tavon, of course, the foot. I'm just assuming he's out for the season. I mean, there's no reason to assume anything else. So I hope that it works out for him. But with him going out, you'd expect to see Jimmy even more,
Yeah.
right? And so it'll be really interesting to see how we see how that goes moving forward. Because I mean, Jimmy's highly paid. He's well
I'm
compensated.
tired of seeing all these cap numbers sitting on the IR,
Yeah,
in the training room.
it's exhausting. I mean, now that you've brought up the play percentages of Brandon Williams, I mean, you start looking around, you see Derek Wolfe isn't there, and then you see a guy like Jimmy who's hardly playing. He's and then Anyway,
What are we doing?
what are we
here?
doing exactly?
Tim Oddie says, I noticed what seemed to be a brace on Adafe's left arm. Am I seeing things or just noticing? I think I've seen that all year, but it did look like it broke at one point in the game. It was kind of dangling behind him. I think after the tackle for loss on the running back where he raced him to the sideline and took him down.
Well, Adafe Owe would break a brace. I mean, he's that physically gifted. I could see that. Him and Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Remember when Joe broke his brace on the slide and everyone was like, oh my gosh, his knee. And it was like just the brace had broken up.
All right. Tom Votto. Appreciate it, Tom. Thanks for the.
I think Tom keeps trying to say something and he might be messing up, but either way, Tom, thank you.
Yes. And hopefully he can get that figured out. House says Dolphins should be fined for how horrible their field was. We had players slipping almost every play. # free Tyson, # free Prochet. And fire Roman. Jimbo.
The field was garbage.
Yeah, luckily both teams had to deal with that.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. So I won't disagree with you there, but like you said, Glenn, it kind of evens out in the wash because both teams were playing on the same field. Free Tyson, I don't know. He hasn't showed me anything else than what these guys have. Free Prochet, same thing. I mean, is he better than any guys we have definitively?
I think I'm tired of seeing Miles Boykin out there. Don't you always know it's going to be a running play when he's out, especially when he's out wide and he's like the only receiver on the field? It's like,
DK's catching the Holy Ghost back there with what you're saying.
I mean, are we not just going to, how about we just throw a paper airplane across to the other sideline that says we're running the ball? because that's
We
what
can
it
just
felt like.
tape it on the front of his helmet. It's a
I
run
mean,
play.
it just drives you crazy. It's so predictable. I mean, you see the guy being the only single receiver on the outside, and it's just like, oh, here comes a run right to his side. And sure enough, it is, and there's no success.
All right, so we
Demetrius.
got to get into this, Glenn. And Demetrius, this vitriol is not aimed towards you, okay?
Okay.
The O-line is a problem. Yes,
Mm-hmm,
I agree
mm-hmm.
with you. Greg Roman's play calling tonight was terrible. I agree with you. But this is what I want to know, and I think this is important. Anytime you get I have a pet peeve. There are plenty of people that you work with in life that will state problems and say what's wrong, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But what I want to know is what your solution is. Anybody can sit there and snipe and criticize. And I understand that's part of our job as fans. You tell me who our OC should be. Not you, Demetrius, but like anyone who thinks Greg Roman should be fired. I don't want us to sit here and say, I'm the biggest fan of Greg Roman. I'm not. However, Lamar Jackson has done historical things under Greg Roman's system. This offense, Lamar Jackson just lost his 10th game, I think, right? In his career. And our offense, like you said, Glenn, is ranked second overall. We can't give all the credit to Lamar Jackson as much as we want to. Like, Greg's got something to do with that. So what I want to know is what your solution is. Like, you tell me what a better option is. And look, if it's valid, I'm up for anything for improving the team. But don't say just let's fire Greg. Okay, so we're gonna fire Greg right now and then put a guy in that's never been an NFL OC in there in Keith Williams.
No, T. Martin would
Or
probably,
T.
but
Martin,
you're
excuse
right.
me. Yeah. T. Martin, who's never been an OC in the NFL. That
Yeah.
sounds like a recipe for a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that one either. So anyway, I that's the one thing that I would say, like, tell me what your solution is. Because right now, this is the best we got, guys. Like, there's an old saying, oh man, now I'm forgetting it. Oh, you don't love, you choose your love, right? That like you choose the person you love, but you also have to love your choice. This is the choice that we made. Greg Roman is our offensive coordinator, right? Like, we chose him. Greg Roman or Harbaugh hired him. Now we got to love him. Like, you got to figure it out. You can't just abandon it and say, let's move on to the next. To what? To what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. Anytime you're firing an offensive coordinator mid-season, the likelihood of you somehow turning around and going to run is low. Now, having said that, the Ravens do have a history of doing just that and going on and winning a Super Bowl. So, of course,
but he
Ravens
was a
fans,
seasoned OC.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Different scenario, right?
Different scenario. This would be a guy who's never done it in the league, never done it at this level. So it would certainly be a different scenario. But look, the bottom line is Greg Roman and the offensive line deserve big credit or big blame, but also Sammy Watkins. I don't know what he did on the opening drive when he decides to just get. I don't know if he lost the ball in the lights. I'm not sure what happened there, but Lamar looked to have thrown an absolute dime despite being pressured. Threw it off his back foot and dropped it in a bucket, and it just fell harmlessly to the ground. And Sammy, the only thing I can say is he just lost it in the air. That's
what
the
do you
only
think
thing I can
about
say.
what Aikman said? Aikman said it looked like he knew exactly where the goalpost was. He didn't want to run to like he was afraid of making that catch and smashing into the field goal post.
It could have played a part. I mean, it's hard to say no when I don't really know. It's either that he got a little gun shy, he hit the warning track in his mind,
right,
and knew the wall was coming. But the other thing would have to be that he just lost it in the air. But disappointing. Then the fumble, and then Hollywood. Hollywood's had some really, really big games. He's had one really horrible game. And I think this was another one where it just wasn't a good game for Hollywood. He had a couple drops. He was losing his footing out there. Poor guy. I mean, that's not his fault, but that certainly cost him a couple times. I saw Mark Andrews on the ground out there a couple times running routes.
Lamar Jackson had a hard time getting his footing.
Yeah, I mean, this was just really a bad game for everyone. It's hard to place any. I tell you what, let me ask you this. Tell me, and why did I waste my time on this? Says struggled against the 30th ranked D. When we play good teams? I'm not sure the second part there. You're right. We did struggle against the 30th ranked team. And I thought that last week's performance by them was just, because it was Houston. But let me ask you, Jimbo, if you had to find a bright spot, is there not a little bit of brightness surrounding Rashad Bateman? I get he
He's the
didn't,
real deal.
right? He's got to be. The snatch hands, I thought he played well tonight,
I'm
even though he gave
excited.
up that interception.
I'm excited for him. Not that he's going to get bulky by any means, but I'm excited for him to take this offseason, looking way ahead here and I'm hoping he gets in the weight room a little bit more, starts looking more like a pro. Cause like he looks pretty skinny out there and he's a wide receiver, but you can tell he's a rookie is what I'm saying. So I'm excited. He's got all of it. I'm excited for him to add a little bit of a muscle, some explosion. He's so shifty and so smooth in and out of his cuts and his breaks. And then the hands, you're absolutely right. The kid's got it. And I'm excited for him to add some physicality to his game and get even better. But we hit so far on that one. Certainly hope he can stay healthy. But the other thing we got to talk about here, Glenn, is the folks, of course, that through the highs and the lows is what we'll speak about, made this show possible tonight. And of course, that was Symbol. So we got to talk about it. The Ravens just dropped $2 post the game.
Oof. Damn.
So we're hurting a little bit. We're a little light
in the bandwagon.
That's right. A little light in the pocketbook. But guys, that's what the stock market's all about. The really cool thing here is that you don't lose your shirt permanently, right? Like, because it's the stock market of sports, you can then rebound in next week's game, right? You can go out and buy stock in the Rams because they just got Odell Beckham Jr. and I'm sure their stock is flying off the roof. Heck, go buy some Miami Dolphins stock. Maybe they're going to get on a win streak here and start turning a corner. Who knows? But the point is, if you're all in on the Ravens like we are, then you know that all is lost today, but it's not like you can't ever recoup your money. You're still in it as long as you don't sell. So I would say, guys, don't panic. Don't sell. Ride it out, and let's see what happens. But if you're wanting to get into Symbol, make sure you check it out. Use the link down below that DK has there. Make sure you use the code 410 to get $10 added to your initial deposit. It's great because you can get your money right back in a week's time. So go get your money back when the Ravens bounce back. But let's so go do it now.
That's right. Demetrius Campbell says, I'm not saying fire Giro. He has to put together better calls, though. And at this point, we can't do anything about the line, but the whole left side is trash. Yeah, I mean, that left side was brutal again. And honestly, the right side wasn't a ton better when you look at what Tyree Phillips is doing out there. I mean, and that's what makes it so tough to evaluate it, and place blame is like how much of Giro's playbook is limited by this offensive line. Like he can't call 5 and 7 step drops. He just had, I mean, think about what was at his disposal of what he could actually call in this game. I mean, he had such a limited playbook. And if you don't think that the defense knows what you're going to, like, they know what you're trying to do to beat them. They know the only thing that beats, this heavy blitz is that, this is the only counter. So let's be ready for it. And they were. I mean, we scream about screens. How many screens did we see tonight, Jimbo? They tried. The quick short passes to the flat. They were all over it. They were rallying. So the bottom line is the offensive line has to play better. And I get that, at this point, the tackles from last year aren't coming back. Ronnie's not going to be back. Big O is gone. So the only shot that we have as far as guys coming back is Makari and Ben Cleveland. But those aren't Pro Bowlers. Those are just better than what we have. So something's got to change because the run game can't get on board without the offensive line and the passing game. Lamar can't throw the ball down the field at any time.
All right, hypothetical for you, Glenn.
All right.
Now you know where we're at. You know who Odafe Owe is. Well, at least thus far. You know who Rashad Bateman is, right? Thus far. Yeah, if we could have taken, if I said today, Glenn, we could have 2 healthy first rounders wherever you want them on the line, or those 2.
Well, I mean, after this game, it's hard to. I mean, after this game,
they were both bright spots in this game, right?
They were the 2 bright spots in the game. So that's a tough question, Jimbo. I mean, after that offensive performance, if I had to choose, I would choose, some better talent on the offensive line. But like you mentioned, they were the 2 bright spots. I mean, they were bright spots.
I know what Greg Roman would choose. That's for sure.
Yeah, Greg. Yeah, Greg would say, I'll take my chances with
With the
Sammy
horses up
Hollywood
front.
and
Yeah, that's
Duvernay.
right. Give me them horses up front, right?
That's right.
Any relation, you and Kieran here?
No relation. Shout out to you, Kieran. It's a great and awesome last name you have.
Yeah, I love seeing Bateman fight for extra yards at the end of the game there. Wanted that touchdown for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, Bateman's the real deal. We looked at it looks like we've hit there, of course,
Oh, we did
Josh
it.
listens. So that's right. But I'm excited to see his progression. But Glenn, we got it. Look, we've been on for an hour and 4 minutes. We got to get to our over under here and give
Yes.
out our winner. So as much as we'd like to keep going and keep this thing going, I think that might be the next place to go here.
Yeah, let's get into
and not a
it.
good
I was trying
performance.
to push it off.
Not a good performance for me, you, or DK tonight. We're leaving the bar is pretty low tonight. But DK, do you have the can you put the competition results up in a banner if you don't mind? I'm sure you won't mind, of course. But competition results, Glenn 1 out of 4, myself 1 out of 4, DK. The world is back on its
I gotta
normal.
check this.
I believe him. I
Let me
believe
make
him.
sure.
He's I don't think he'd be bragging about getting to 50%.
No, I don't think so.
And DK wins with 2 out of 4. Shout out to DK for he's back on top where he rightfully belongs for this week. So we'll see how it goes next week. Well, week and a half. But we do want to shout out our competition winner, Glenn. If you wanna shout out our competition winner here, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Competition winner this week is Steve Lee, who submitted his predictions via Instagram. He got 3 of the 4 over-unders correct and the closest to the pin. So shout out to Steve Lee. Yes, he beat us soundly, and beat the rest of you guys. Thank you for all who participated in our competition. There will be another one next week, so if you missed out, have no fear. You can obviously enter next week, and the way to do so is simply participate by sending us a private message via Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or by putting a comment in the video once the live session is over. Steve Lee, if you want to send us another Instagram message, let us know your size and your address, and a shirt will show up in the mail magically.
That is right. I just noticed that I got a notification that another one shipped. They've been a little behind, but another one shipped. Somebody, I forgot who it was, but somebody in Pennsylvania won, and their shirt's on the way. So hopefully you get it before Thanksgiving. But yeah, shout out to Steve. Yep. Did well this week. I'm just broke my highlighter out of frustration. It's been a frustrating evening. Nonetheless, any other notes you want to cover here, or are we going to rehash this because we got a week and a half to go over it?
Yeah, we got lots of time to talk about this. But yeah, we'll be back soon. Enjoy your Sunday, guys. At least you have this. You don't have to be stressed out on Sunday. If you're just a fan of the game, you can go ahead and root against. Here's some good games to watch this weekend. You can root for the Patriots to beat the Browns after the Browns may have lost Nick Chubb to COVID, which could be a huge hit for them. I just enjoy the week and root against all those in the AFC, basically, and all those.
Yeah, we really want the Steelers to lose. Everyone else in the AFC North, of course, the Bengals are on a bye. Yeah. But and in addition to that, you got some time to breathe. So put your portfolio together, guys. Get on Symbol. You got some extra time. Put your strategies together. Look, I'm open for some consulting. All right, so let me know if you need some help, and we'll get it done. But your boy over here is going to be making some stacks. So we hope you guys do the same. Make sure you go check it out. But it was a blast tonight. I mean,
thanks for coming out. I always feel better. I dread coming up here and doing these after a loss. It hurts. It pains me. But I always feel a little bit better afterwards, and I hope all you guys in the chat as well feel better as well. Give a couple shout-outs. Fabian, thanks for coming out and always showing love. J-Dub, Prince Quan, appreciate your passion. Edwin,
don't punch the wall, Prince.
Yeah, no punching the walls. Edwin Nevada, appreciate you coming out. Jay Kinda, thanks for commenting and participating. Terrence Hall, Epic Play Style, or Style Play, I should say. Ray Smith, Lenny Beeson, Raven Ron, Nana Rave I saw in here earlier, Iman Thomas, Lisa Ann. Thanks to all of you. If I didn't say your name, I'm sorry. If you're a silent observer, thanks for watching, and we will be back soon.